it's Renee with Delaney Jane Cards. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am making a Christmas card for my 2019 Christmas card series. I'm using a stamp set by Raisin Boat. It is called Joy to the World. Now Raisin Boat, well, they kind of merged with a bunch of other small companies. I believe it's called Some More Fun Stamps. And I'll leave a link below so you can check out their stuff. They added or merged a few different companies like Victorine Originals. This one, there's a couple of them. Anyway, the image that I chose to use is this sweet little scene where these angels, one is blowing a trumpet and they're over the city of, I'm going to guess, Bethlehem. So I did make 6 of these and I did them in assembly line fashion. I tried to cut out all of the double, triple, all the extras. So to try to shorten this video up, because I know time is precious, yours is, and so is mine, and I very much appreciate you stopping by to check out my video. So this card, when I usually color with my Copics, I color nice and bold and bright and use lots of contrast and make my images really pop off the page. But this image just didn't seem like an image that was made for bold, bright colors. I mean, you could, but I didn't feel like I wanted bold, bright colors. So in this set of cards, I used my Copic markers to color in very pastel and softly. And I did just kind of use very simple coloring here. Very light colors. There's nothing extra special at all about the coloring. So I did leave it in, but I did speed it up quite a bit. So like I said, there's just nothing special about it. They are all colored exactly the same. I colored this one first. Usually when I mass produce, I color one complete image and then I color the other one. So like this. So then I started pulling my pieces and I used one of the newer paper pads that I have, and I started putting together all the pieces to see if I had everything that I wanted. Now that gold paper, that is from Michaels. It's really thin. It's really nice for layering. It doesn't add much bulk to my cards. So I had done all my trimming and die cutting off screen, and here I'm going to start doing my stamping. And at first I almost was super dumb. I put this little tiny strip in here and I knew I needed to like stamp it multiple times, and the strip is almost wider than the actual like rubber stamp, so I wasn't going to line it up very well. So I just pulled up the, I guess, carcass from my die cutting, and I do this kind of often. It's way easier to just slip that piece in and out and use the carcass of cardstock as like a jig. So I stamped all my sentiment strips, and then here I'm going to be stamping this little tag, and I have this little dove image, and I'm going to heat emboss this on each of these little white tags. And I used my VersaFine Onyx Black ink here because I'm going to heat emboss it in gold, so it doesn't really matter what color is underneath. The gold will cover it up. So I did all of those off screen, and then I used some little twine to tie a little like knot and kind of untwirl the ends of the twine just a little bit. And I did that on all 6 of those and cut a banner end in the end of each of the sentiment strips. And then I started to assemble. Oh, I used an embossing folder on this background, and I used my gold ink pad to rub over the edges. It brings more gold in, and it makes it so you can really see that embossing so much better. And my color palette was actually based on this pattern paper here. This came out of that really beautiful pattern paper stack that I showed. And I just loved how soft the colors were, and the angels went really nice with this image. So here I realized that I still needed one more piece of gold. So I cut gold to frame each of these strips here and put those all together. Definitely finished everything off much nicer. I just felt like everything else was framed, and this had such an unfinished edge that I needed to add that gold. And it being a really thin gold paper, it didn't add any bulk really to these cards. They're not thick or heavy. So here I was just making sure that my twine was untwisted enough, and I adhered it down. Added my sentiment strip. Everything is flat on these Christmas cards. I didn't want to have to pay extra postage for any of these cards. I wanted them to fit in the A2 envelope. I wanted to be able to just sign them and send them off. And I try to keep my dimension minimal when I'm doing a set of cards like this. So I just finished up all 6 in the same exact fashion here, putting the sentiment down and trimming it off from behind, and then adhering it to my gold card panel, adding my tag, and that finished those up. And then I used this Lucy's Little Things mix here, because I had used like aqua and gold and really pastel colors. I thought this would be a really beautiful mix to put on each of them. And then it has these tiny little stars too, and I thought how perfect those would look around these angels, especially because there's like some hand-drawn stars in the background. I think that image would look really cool if it was, if you like did a really night sky background on it. I think it would be just gorgeous. Like mask the image and ink blend over it, or do some Copic coloring to make a really beautiful night sky. Oh man, now I have ideas. Anyway, so I was like placing these sequins. When I do mass produce like this, I want to make sure that first of all I have enough of the same kind of sequin that I can do this on every single card, and I try to make sure that everything goes in the same places on all the cards, so they look the same. And then I adhered down the cute little stars that I had added, and I did that on all of them. And I was just finishing up the last of the 6. That art glitter glue, I'm liking it. I'm finding that it clogs more now that I'm almost through the bottle, but it's fine. And then here I used my Spectrum Noir clear glitter overlay pen to add some shimmer and shine to my angels and the little dove. And I did all 6 bases. They are A2 size side folding card bases. And I also stamped the inside of my cards with a coordinating sentiment. And I did that with my Tim Holtz platform here. I find if I put it in my MISTI, I get that weird like line or whatever. So I just do this, or I fold my card bases backwards and put them in. I could have done that too, I guess, but I had all my other stamps still in my MISTI and I was lazy. So I just grabbed out a different platform. So those are my cards. Oh, I did trim them up where they weren't, perfect. And I'd love to hear what you think. Do you make sets of cards when you make cards? Do you like this color combination? I'd love to chat with you in the comments. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, or whatever you celebrate. I appreciate you stopping by, and as always, give cards generously.